Welcome to the newest edition of Aftermath TV. Hi everyone, Caroline, Jimmy, Anthony, and Nug here with you. And we're so excited to get this show started because finally we get to talk about this upcoming Sunday's pay-per-view. We know that there will be a men's and women's Elimination Chamber match. Starting with the men's, it's a 7-man match. Do you guys think that this will make the match itself better or worse?
I think it's just fine. I mean, like adding one more person to the match, I don't think will change the dynamic too much. But you look at the lineup of the guys in the match, I mean, this is like an all-star lineup as far as the Raw roster goes. So I have a lot of confidence that these guys will deliver.
I think it's going to affect the match only the beginning of the match, because that's really when it comes into play. There's three guys and 2 guys can gang up. But after that, it's going to be a regular Elimination Chamber match, which is already crazy and intense, and there's a lot of factors. And sometimes it's a little bit unfair in terms of when people are released from their pods. And of course, the structure itself is quite devastating. So people like carnage, and this is going to be full of carnage.
There's going to be a lot of carnage, but sometimes lost in the carnage of the match and the chains and the dome and the pods is the entertainment. And what I like is that Elias is the last one to come in, so he could be playing his guitar in his pod right up until he comes out.
Oh, get a concert. I love it.
I think it's fantastic.
Going off of Monday Night Raw, we saw a 7-man gauntlet match, and we'll see those exact 7 superstars in the men's Elimination Chamber match. There's one in particular that I want to talk about. His name is Seth Rollins. They called him Monday Night Rollins because he did so well on Monday Night Raw. He was in the match for 1 hour and 5 minutes. That's the longest time a superstar has been in a match in the 25 years of Raw. Can we talk about him a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously a tremendous athlete. He did something in that match. Okay, I know he has stamina, I know he has skill and agility. When he did that thing with Cena where he picked him up and scooped him over his head, pound for pound, this is a guy who's about, I'm going to guess around 210, 220 pounds. You know, doing a power clean to a guy that's 250 pounds at the very lowest. And what a tremendous display of power to add to his already, you know, his attributes that he already has. Excellent display of heart. The only problem I have with that was that it was so exciting, and he did such a great job. It was really early in the show, and I like to see my shows kind of escalate and kind of, you know, have that climax near the end. But this was a heavy-duty beginning of a show.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, but anybody who's watched Seth Rollins anywhere on video or on YouTube or whatever he does, he's big into CrossFit, and that's his thing. And I'm obviously not one to speak on the virtues of CrossFit, not my forte, let me put it that way. But apparently it's working for him because he went 1 hour and 5 minutes, and he still looked like he can go for another 1 hour and 5 minutes.
He did go for 1 hour and 5 minutes. He looks like he could go longer, but he also looked pretty hurt by the end of that match. He was hugging a leg. You know, the 2 matches he had last night against Roman and John Cena both wore him down. So now going into the Elimination Chamber on Sunday, is he 100%? Was this a dumb thing for him to do, to try and go 1 hour long or whatever? Is there a chance that Kurt Angle could say he's injured and pull him out of the match? We've watched what happened to Kurt Angle's son and his injury. If Kurt Angle pulls Seth out of the match because of his injury, this was a dumb thing for Seth.
Interesting.
Yeah, people get hurt often when they start to get fatigued. So to push your stamina like that, that is an excellent opportunity for that little split second of error, and of course, that's when you get hurt. So luckily, hopefully he's okay.
I thought it was an incredible performance. We saw other superstars tweeting about it. It was great to see. Nug, you mentioned a name that I want to start talking about, Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw it out there. I think it's what everyone's expecting. What will happen if Roman Reigns wins the Elimination Chamber match?
Oh, well, I think the universe will riot if Roman Reigns wins. There is a very good chance Roman Reigns will win. I mean, look at the match last night. He's the one that's, him and Braun Strowman are the 2 that suffered the least amount of damage in that match last night. Roman was out after the first, and Braun cleaned up at the end. But Roman Reigns has an excellent chance of winning this match, and I know a lot of people expect it. When and if it happens, people are going to riot. It's also fun to have people's expectations dashed. So I'm kind of hoping someone else in the match steps up and Roman doesn't win. But
To me, it's kind of like you know, like people say, well, I want something unexpected to happen. I want something unexpected to happen. And then I always make this reference where that's like going to see the Titanic movie and getting upset that the ship sinks at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
You know it's going to sink at the end of the movie. It's the story getting to that ending that is the important part. How they tell that story and how they get there. And if Roman Reigns does happen to win the Elimination Chamber on Sunday and goes on to face Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, I will love it.
Yeah.
Just because I'm just looking forward to my Twitter account.
Yeah, it's interesting because in the beginning, okay, remember Vicky Guerrero would come out and the entire audience would boo, but they didn't hate her. It was just the thing to do. When she comes out, you boo. When she says, excuse me, you boo louder. And in the beginning, I was a firm believer that nobody really dislikes Roman Reigns. It's just the thing to do. To boo him. If he punches a guy, boo. If he comes out, boo. When he opens his mouth, boo. But now I talk to some people, like kids and, fans, and they think they're starting to believe they really hate him. And I'm like, wait a second. You don't really hate him. The people that made you hate him don't even hate him. It's just a cool thing to do, to go against the machine and against the man and boo, they can't tell us who we like and all that stuff. But that being said, he is getting a little boring on the microphone. I have to say, the cool guy thing is fine. He is a cool guy. But you have to be a little bit self-deprecating. You have to laugh at yourself a little bit and kind of drop that guard. I think if you did that, I think a lot more people would really be attracted to him.
Will fans ever love Roman Reigns?
Well,
I think there are a lot of fans that already love Roman Reigns, and they're the ones having fun when they go to a show, as opposed to the people who think they have to boo him to have a good time.
Right.
If you're of a certain age, you love him, and if you're of a certain age, you don't, and that's because you think you don't have to. I think he's great.
I think he's actually excellent in the ring, and I think, and as Anthony pointed out, it's almost like this groupthink mentality. It's we're going to jump on this bandwagon, on this train, and regardless of how he performs, because the one complaint I get a lot is, oh, he's not very good in the ring, and he's actually very good in the ring.
Excellent.
So, he's very good.
Yeah, so it's kind of like the same thing with Cena. Everybody piled on because it was the cool thing to do.
Yeah. Well, the audience, you'll hear them. They say, let's go, Roman. Roman sucks. So there's people already doing that. But to get those other people, it becomes an interesting psychological game. If I'm in the office and, just for our own amusement, let's try and twist these guys and make everybody cheer for him. How do you do that? Is it where he is in the card? Do you have to pretend like you've turned your back on him and say he's not the chosen one, and then we're gonna like him, or who knows? Actually, it's an interesting phenomenon, but he's here to stay, and I'm a huge fan of Roman Reigns.
I'll tell you what, the one thing though, that if he does flip sides, those that are booing him will now be on the Roman bandwagon, and the ones that were cheering him before, the kids, it's going to be a role reversal kind of thing. So,
real quick, moving on to another big man on campus. Will Braun Strowman literally break the chamber? Can we expect that? We've seen him flip production trucks.
There's a possibility. I mean, there's a lot of things that can break. There's the pods can break, chains can break, the door of the cage can break, the roof of the cage can break. There's a lot of things in that chamber that have breakable components. And knowing that Strowman's flipped a truck, I think he has the capability to break something in that chamber.
Definitely. I'm pretty sure he's going to jump into a pod. Like you said earlier, if Elias is playing that guitar in the pod and Braun,
right in.
Yeah, I could see him busting through to break the guitar and kind of end that concert right away. I'm just worried that if for some reason Braun doesn't get out of the Elimination Chamber winning the match and loses, what could become of the structure then? Because I think he could lose it.
Yeah, I just think it's funny that we're looking forward to seeing if this guy's going to break stuff.
I know.
Of course he's going to break stuff.
It's awesome. Okay, based on personal experience, Jimmy and Anthony, what was it like to be around the Elimination Chamber match? Jimmy, for you as a former WWE
Jimmy, I'll
rep.
take this since I've been in the chamber.
All right.
I haven't, so I shouldn't talk about it at all? Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Well, from a referee standpoint, the biggest thing is to look out for the safety of the participants, because that structure is very non-forgiving and could, the risk of injury is increased in that thing. So looking for certain signs and looking for certain things, the safety of the participants is first and foremost.
Yeah, the one thing I remember is, so before any match, you got to get a light sweat going, meaning you're warmed up so you don't get injured. And I warmed up for the match, and I was ready to go, and then you go out there, and you got to stand in this pod. And I was cooling down.
You mean
Look at this, flashback.
Whoa.
Like that?
There he is.
Are you got to be kidding me? It's incredible. I can watch myself all day.
And a young-looking Wade Barrett.
You don't look cold. You look warmed up, buddy.
Look at that. That was agile.
Awesome hip toss.
Just classic.
So good.
What's the thing Michael Cole says? Vintage.
Vintage.
Vintage. Vintage you.
That's something else to be in that cage with the Big Show.
You know, the irony is I actually don't recall that. Well, there's so much stuff on YouTube and stuff that I actually watch, and I'm like, I just don't remember. I should watch that back, actually.
Probably some of it is because Big Show kind of rattled your cage there, and that's why you don't remember a lot of it.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. But I remember, you know, being concerned with kind of cooling down. But then again, obviously you come out there and the audience is behind you, and the excitement from the crowd, your adrenaline's kicking and pumping, and you're fine.
Well, hopefully we'll get to see more clips of Anthony from his WWE past. For now, it's time to go break. More clips. Right now, it's time to go to break. When we're back, we talk about Ronda Rousey and her contract signing. Stay tuned. Raw GM Kurt Angle announced that Ronda Rousey will be signing her WWE contract during Sunday's pay-per-view. Very exciting news, massive platform. My question to you guys, is there ever a non-dramatic contract signing? And do we have any predictions as to how Ronda Rousey's will go?
I think Jimmy's hamster's on the wheel for this.
I have a hamster on the wheel. I think that during the contract signing, the commissioner of Raw, Stephanie McMahon, will come out and kind of have an issue with Kurt Angle, saying, you did not consult me about bringing her in and signing her to a contract. There will be a little bit of a kerfuffle. I'm bringing that word back, kerfuffle. And maybe we see Triple H interject himself into this, and kind of we have a little bit of a four-way interaction with Kurt Angle, Ronda Rousey, Stephanie McMahon, and Triple H.
I can see that happening. I can see Kurt Angle wanting to interject himself into some sort of, let's say, a tag team match situation with him and Ronda against Triple H and Stephanie. A little mixed tag action. It's been going well on Facebook. Why not at Mania?
I think it's just going to go smooth. I'm still beside myself with the fact that she's coming to WWE. It's awesome. It's good for, I mean, you know, as the MMA world continues to grow and the WWE and they're meshing and there's some crossover, and I love that. Combat sports is combat sports, and of course the whole judo thing. And I've known of her career for many years, and I wish her nothing but absolute success. And if she needs any help learning how to wrestle, I can show her.
Maybe it's kind of like DC and Marvel.
Ooh.
Kind of melding worlds there.
Oh, amalgamating. I like that.
Well, we're all excited for Rousey to join the WWE, but moving on, Nia Jax and Asuka. We saw about a month ago these two superstars go at it. The match halted due to injury. We saw a little bit of a kerfuffle, since we're bringing that word back, last night on Monday Night Raw. What can we expect to see come pay-per-view? What makes this matchup so intriguing?
I think it's a couple of things. Obviously, Asuka's winning streak comes into play. Nia Jax has lost matches in the past, but I think a loss here, it's going to be interesting. I don't think Asuka's winning streak will end on Sunday, but at the same time, it's going to be interesting to see how Nia Jax emerges from this, still looking as strong as she does.
Yeah. I kind of have a gut feeling that Nia might do it. Nia might end the winning streak, which is fine. And in fact, if it happens, it's going to make Asuka even more dangerous, I believe. Sometimes you get that critical moment loss, and something happens. And if I was someone that can potentially face Asuka, I don't want her to lose before Mania, because then you're getting the absolute best Asuka at Mania. And Nia is the woman to do it. She's such a tremendous athlete.
Well, you could feel it from the universe last night. They want Nia to win this match. You could hear people cheering as she was brutalizing Asuka last night. I want Asuka to win, but I also want Nia to be in that match at Mania. Yes. And it's terrible that this has to be one or the other, and it can't be both. If there's a way it can be both, make it happen. Nia, whatever you got to do, make it happen.
There's always a way to.
I like that. I like that.
Well, yeah, my money is on Nia as well. We'll see what happens. But now moving on to the first ever women's Elimination Chamber match. Who do you guys think will impress?
I think a lot of people are going to be impressed by Mickie James. I think she's. I know the WWE universe, and you still got it. She never lost it, guys. I mean, like she is a. You know, when you look at the lineup there, because. Hate to say it, underwhelming overall lineup. It's not as star-studded as the men's. But yeah, I think Mickie James is going to be the one that's going to surprise a lot of people.
It's funny that you say that because Mickie, I always get the impression that she has that one big night left in her where she's going to make history and, you know, one for the old gal, and she's going to be able to do it and show these young girls how, you know. She was, when I first moved down to OVW, she was already polished and awesome. And I'm like, who is this girl? She is amazing. And it's been a pleasure to watch her career, and especially this resurgence. So, one for the old gal. One more time. Come on, Mickie.
I think the Elimination Chamber will be a coming out party for Mandy Rose, because I think Mandy Rose has the biggest upside in this match for any of them. I think Alexa Bliss will still come out with the title, but I think Mandy Rose will impress a lot of people in this match.
There's always a wild moment during these Elimination Chamber matches. Who will provide that moment?
In the women's one?
Yes.
Ooh. Well, I think Nug's pick there, Mandy Rose. I think she has the potential to do that because she's got all the tools.
She's the future, I believe.
And you know Sasha's going to try and do something. Between Sasha and Bayley, something's going to happen that's going to blow people's minds.
Yeah, Sasha has that connection, you know, that Eddie Guerrero thing she has going. So there could be something interesting there as well.
Like a boss, right?
Absolutely. Like a boss.
Well, time will only tell what will happen. It's a countdown until Sunday. I'm excited. Right now, it's time for a break. When we're back, we talk about the newest inductee into the Hall of Fame. There's a new inductee in the 2018 WWE Hall of Fame. Nug is super excited. He's known as one of the best intercontinental champions ever. He's known for his in-ring confidence, his arrogant country singing, and his strut. Tell me, boys, who is it?
Well, we're talking about Double J, Jeff Jarrett. I gotta say, singing, questionable. There was a bit of a Milli Vanilli thing going on back in the day. Did he sing it or was it his roadie? But I am super excited. Double J is one of those guys from the new generation, let's say, that always made you hate him no matter what he did. I don't know if anybody ever cheered for him, but he was just out there to make you hate him, and it was the best thing to hate that guy.
Definitely has a Hall of Fame career. Seems like he's always just kind of been there.
Yeah.
And been there and been in a really good spot. We didn't, our time in WWE did not overlap, but I met him in the last couple of years, and we hit it off, and it was just great I wanted to tell him a lot about some of the things I liked over the years, and I didn't want to, you know, kiss up too much, but I was a big fan of his, so super deserving, and that's one of those things when you hear his name, you're like, of course. Yeah. How is he not in it already, actually? Yeah. But it's going to be fun. He's going to be able to hopefully tell some really cool stories during the induction.
He's definitely got a lot of them, and I had the pleasure of getting to work with him in the WWE during my career as a referee. And one of the things about Jeff Jarrett is he's so underrated because, like you said, when you talk about greatest intercontinental champions of all time, people bring up people like the Honky Tonk Man. They bring up Randy Savage, Ricky Steamboat. All these names come up. Chris Jericho, The Miz now. People forget about Double J, and Double J was actually, he put entertainment into sports entertainment. It was amazing.
Well, he's not forgotten. Congratulations, Double J. Well deserved. Now we move on to Ask Aftermath. We've got a few really good questions, so I'm starting it off.
Rapid fire,
Prepare
guys.
yourself.
Rapid fire.
Prepare yourself.
I really like
What is
this.
your favorite live event experience? Go.
Oh, geez, hold on. I need that's doing
Well,
preparation.
I'll start. Was the very first live event I ever went to was at the London Gardens, back when it was still a building. And the main event was Randy Savage against the Honky Tonk Man. But one of the best things on that was Junkyard Dog against King Kong Bundy. Bundy went for the 5 count, and Junkyard Dog kicked out, and the ref let the match keep going. And then Junkyard Dog pinned Bundy. So I still remember that.
So it was after 3, but not until 5?
Yeah, he had 4. He kicked out at 4, and the ref let it go because Bundy was the one that asked for 5.
He
I
insisted.
wonder who the ref was for that.
I don't know.
When I was a kid, I was at Maple Leaf Gardens with my father and my brother, and it was Hulk Hogan versus Big John Studd, and I started a Hogan chant. And the entire, it caught on to the entire arena. I stood up and I was like, Hogan, Hogan, and then it kind of caught on, and my brother looked at me and goes, as it caught on to the whole arena, he goes, you started that. I did start that.
Best day ever.
So that was a pretty cool moment for me as a kid in a live event.
For me, it was before I started refereeing, but I had just started working for Jack Tunney, and there was an event at CNE Stadium called The Big Event. It was a special for Coliseum Video. It wasn't aired on television or anything like that.
It's on the network.
It is on the network, so you can check it out there, but the crowd reaction that night was the loudest I have ever heard for the first time in my life when the main event came on. It was outdoors, so you'd think that because it was outdoors that the sound would be lost.
Oh, yeah.
They must have heard us in Buffalo. It was crazy.
Another great question. What is your favorite talk show segment or interview of all time?
Piper's Pit. Is there anything? The original.
Jimmy was waiting just on the tip of his tongue.
All the stuff that happened in Piper's Pit was so good. The Frankie Williams interview. I'm from Columbus, Ohio, and stuff like that. The coconut to the head of Jimmy Snuka, which actually, you know, I loved it.
Brother Love. When I was a kid, I loved Piper, but when Piper left, Brother Love. There was nothing better because you knew something was going on. It's like a contract signing now. If Brother Love came out, you knew something was going to happen.
Yeah, Piper's Pit, everything was iconic. It was so good that everything was completely memorable. One thing I used to like, and I'll give a little shout out here, was the VIP lounge. Believe it or not, I thought MVP was fantastic on the mic, and he could really conduct a segment, you know, with authority, being the guy in charge. God, there's so many over the year.
Peep Show.
Peep Shows,
Flower Shop with Adrian Adonis.
Can I pick a current day one?
Sure.
The Miss TV.
Oh, I was gonna say not
No,
Miss
yeah, you
TV.
can't. No, I'm sorry. Mr. Hollywood, him and Maurice, power couple, they bring on people like LeVar and Lonzo Ball. This is TV that I want to watch.
Oh, those
Really
are
a
two
power
people I
couple.
would have preferred. That's just me.
Hey,
That's
one
just
time
me.
I'll tell you a quick joke. I said to the Miz, I go, so is Maurice your trophy wife, basically? He goes, yeah, I guess you could say that. And I go, what place did you come?
Wow.
Sorry.
Okay, final question. These are great questions. Please, guys, keep sending them in. If you were a video game character, which I wish I was, what would your finishing move be?
Every time there was ever a WWE video game, I would go and look for the same move, which was it was called the Mexican Stretch Buster. So you put the guy in the suplex, pick him up, and then grab his ankles, and then crack his neck on your shoulder. I saw a guy do it one time in WCW. I think it was Ciclope or Damien 666, and that's the greatest move forever.
Just once.
Just once.
You can only do it.
Yeah, no kidding.
For me, I'd go back to the old standard, the eye poke.
Nice.
I just eye poke somebody.
Oh, it freaks me out.
Well, I guess I would use my actual finish. Apparently, though, when I talk to kids that play the video game, it's hard to do. It's like a lot of moves, like, you know, left, up, down, left, up, whatever. But when you do get it, it's very successful. So I guess that's kind of
It's like trying to do the Macarena on a video game.
yeah, it takes a while.
Just use a
Well,
sleeper.
I
and
would
see.
create
Yeah, I like
a new
that.
one, and since I'm all about animals being in the WWE, my dog would come in. He has no teeth, and he would come into the ring and just gum everyone until they could no longer move. I'm just saying that right here and right now.
It's outside interference. You'd be disqualified.
What are you three looking forward to in SmackDown Live's episodes?
Oh, I'm just, hopefully we get maybe a participant or two taken out of this five-way. I
Yeah.
just think it's convoluted, that's all.
The five-way is going to be, it's a lot. And the thing is, I want real chances. I want real matches. And when there's things,
Rusev
they're
Day.
too chaotic.
Rusev Day.
There you go.
Less is more. We'll see what happens on SmackDown Live tonight. That's it. We'll see you guys all next week.
Yeah.
And I
Thanks
think
for hanging out
Maurice
with us.
is beautiful.